All right, guys, without further ado, I want to introduce our special guest this evening. He's wrote 3 books so far. I believe he's working on another one. The first one being Paychecks and Playchecks. You can find that on Amazon and on his website. The second book being Don't Worry, Retire Happy, the 7 Steps to Retirement Security. We're going to be going over those 7 steps tonight. And then Retirement Income Masters, The Secrets of the Pros. He's been in over 80 million households on public television in the U.S. and Canada. He's a public speaker. I want to introduce my friend and soon to be yours, Mr. Tom Hegna.
I didn't know my bio was going to take up the whole podcast.
Hey, let's jump right into it, Tom. Let's go over the 7 steps to retirement success. And again, I know you go over that in your book, Don't Worry, Retire Happy, which you can find on your website, tomhegna.com. But let's cover the 7 steps. What would be step number 1, Tom?
Yeah. So, step number 1 is you got to have a plan. I mean, how are you going to
Right.
get anywhere if you don't have a roadmap or a plan of how to get there? And I say you've got to work with a financial professional. Retirement is not a do-it-yourself project. I mean, think about it. You don't do your own dental work in your garage with your drill set, and I don't think people ought to be doing their own retirement planning either.
And in
So
a
that's step
do-it-yourself
1.
world, Tom, where everyone's trying to figure it out all by themselves and all on their own, trying to throw darts at things as things go up and ride the wave up. And I've been in this industry a long time. I know not as long as you have, Tom, but you've been in this industry probably as long as I've been alive. But I agree with you. You need a professional to help you through this, and they're not always easy to find, right? To find someone that's going to shoot it straight, tell you the truth. But you need to search. You need to interview people as well. What's number 2, Tom?
Number 2 is to maximize your Social Security benefits. See, most people, the largest retirement asset they have is Social Security, and yet they're not studying it. They're not finding out the optimal age to start it. They listen to their buddies down to the coffee shop to tell them to take it at age 62.
Right.
And that's, for most people, that's not the right age. For some people, it is, because if they have short life expectancies for both the husband and wife, if they have minor children in the house. I mean, there are reasons why you might want to take it early. But what I say is, in general, the breadwinner should delay. So if you have a husband and wife, let's say the husband made more money in his career than the wife can take her Social Security early. I don't have a problem with that. But the husband should wait, or whoever made the most money should wait, because that check covers both lives. Because when he dies, she's going to get his. If he took his early, he locked her into a lower Social Security survivor benefit. So just look, there's Social Security calculators out there. Another reason why you should sit down with a financial professional and just have them run that calculator. It will show you the optimal age based on your situation that you should draw Social
It's
Security.
funny because Tom and I will laugh when the people say, I hate all annuities. And I'm like, wait a minute, you already own one. It's Social Security. And if you own a pension, you already own one. Those are
what's
annuities.
so funny is people love their Social Security and they love their pensions, and the people who own annuities love their annuities. You don't ever find people complaining that they have these annuities. They love them. Those checks come every single month. As long as they're breathing, those checks keep coming. And all the math and science, the PhDs, and if you read Dr. Michael Finka, Dr. Wade Pfau, Dr. Menachem Yari, Dr. Moshe Milevsky, Dr. David Babel, the list is Robert C. Merton, Nobel Prize winner.
Right.
They all say you must annuitize a portion of your portfolio. Nobody's saying put all your money in annuities. No. I don't sell any annuities. I don't get compensated on the sale of any annuities. I don't sell any of them. I own 11 annuities. Okay, I don't sell them. I don't really care if people buy them or not if they don't want to. But the math and science says that they should, and that's what I write about.
I agree with that. And people always ask me with lifetime income annuities. They ask me a question that they never ask with their pension and their Social Security, which is, what's the return on investment? And I say, well, if you know the exact age that you're going to die, I can give it to you. But up until that point, it's a transfer of risk. I do, however, think in a raging bull market where there's, FOMO, fear of missing out, people are always trying to, unfortunately, time annuity purchases. And once again, there's many types of annuities, but when we're talking about lifetime income, the primary pricing mechanism is each. But people are hung up on interest rates So can you speak to
Yeah, I
that
mean,
a little bit?
and I posted a lot on it because I'm an economist, and everybody's saying, "Oh, inflation, inflation." You know, lumber price
Right.
up, copper price up, every oil price up, gas price up, everything's going up, and yet the 30-year Treasury is still under 2%. I mean, that's unbelievable. The 30-year government bond is under 2% when we're filming this, and so it's kind of a conundrum. The bond market does not see inflation. You and I see it; we see it every day. But I'm telling you, the bond market says it's temporary, and they don't see it as a long-term thing. And the number one thing, as you said, is longevity, and that also plays a role in Social Security. See, what people don't realize is that right now, today, the life expectancy of a 65-year-old couple is age 93. 50% of all 65-year-old couples will have somebody live to be 93.
Wow.
25% of those 65-year-old couples will have somebody live to be 97. And when you plug that type of longevity into Social Security, into a calculator, or into your annuity calculations, you're going to find out that it's very, very, very important to have something that will pay you as long as you are living, as long as you are breathing. Stocks can't do that. Bonds can't do that. Real estate can't do that. Bitcoin cannot do that. But an annuity can do that.
Right. And that's the monopoly that annuities have. You know, these lifetime income annuities have. There's nothing out there that can match it. And it's not a sales pitch, it's just a fact. And you know, lifetime income, when you're talking about lifetime income with 10,000 baby boomers hitting age 65 every single day, you know, Tom and I agree. That's called a demographic tidal wave. These people are out there and they're looking for guarantees. I think the hurdle with the annuities when it comes to the annuity industry is explaining the annuities and different types of annuities and educating people on the annuities, science on these annuities. But let's go into number three, Tom.
Yeah, three is to consider a hybrid retirement. Too many people are trying to retire too early. They haven't saved enough money. If they could just work a couple extra years, even part-time, doing something they love to do, it can significantly help them retire more successfully because they can have increased earnings, increased savings, increased Social Security benefits, and you can keep them from tapping into that portfolio for a couple of years.
That could be a tough pill to swallow for some people, especially for the person that is fairly close to going into retirement. But those are conversations that we have, you know, every single day for people that contact me when they go to the website legacywealthcrusade.com. And I'll be brutally honest with people. There's a lot of times that
It doesn't have
Tom,
to be like terrible work. Like I'm
right,
doing the hybrid retirement. I'm still doing this, but I'm not doing it like I was before. I spent 200 days a year on the road before. I'm not doing that. I'll do it virtual. I'm not going
right,
to be on the road 200 days. Now my golf game and my tennis appointments and my pickleball appointments, they're more important to me now, but I still do some work on the side and it brings in revenue and it helps. And so, you know, even somebody who likes to play golf, they could be a marshal on a golf course 2 days a week. Guess what? They get to play for free the other 5 days a week. So, I mean, it can reduce their expenses. So just be creative in doing something that can help your retirement.
and by the way, Tom's books, Paychecks and Playchecks, which I would advise you to go and pick up on Amazon.com because it's a great book when you're trying to learn these different types of financial tools that are available to you out there in retirement. That's when I actually found out about Tom Hegna a while back. Was one of my mentors in this industry recommended me that book, and in that book he talks about lifestyle. And we both believe that lifetime income annuities can provide the lifestyle that you want in your retirement years, but you know everything that you have doesn't necessarily need to be in annuities. In fact, the industry frowns upon that because you do have to go through something called suitability whenever you get an annuity. But it is a very good tool for you to use. And I agree with the comment that Tom made there. And there's a lot of smart people out there that are using these, that are diversifying their retirement income and using these uh, lifetime
Yeah,
income
I mean, I
annuities.
even put 1% of my portfolio into Bitcoin, and I put that on social media. And people said, "Oh, his account must be hacked. He would never talk about Bitcoin. He's all about guarantees." And I said, "Yeah, but it's because I have so much of my money guaranteed. I can afford to take 1%. That's all I've ever said. 1% of my portfolio and do some very risky stuff with it. And guess what? It's done very well. I bought Bitcoin back when it was $3,000 a Bitcoin. Okay, and I just put 1% of my portfolio
Sure.
in there, and that's grown up. But because I have so much of my income guaranteed, I'm able to take more risk with some of my other money if I want to.
think that's where people need to realize that's how the lifetime income annuity transfer of risk protects yourself against
Plan to
inflation.
protect yourself against inflation. And you know, for the last 30 years, inflation has been dead, and now all of a sudden it's in the news all the time. But even if we're in a deflationary environment, there's stuff that goes up. I mean, college education's going up, nursing home prices are going up, healthcare is going up. So even in a deflationary economy, there's pockets of inflation, and that's why you can't just have income for the rest of your life. You really want to figure out how you're going to have increasing income for the rest of your life. And there's really three ways to do it. Number one, you can buy an annuity that automatically goes up every single year by 3 or 4 or 5%. You can pick that up front. Or you can cover your basic living expenses in retirement with guaranteed lifetime income, and then invest the rest of your money into stocks and real estate and other things that go up in times of inflation. So if we have inflation, there's going to be more money to take out more money. Or you can do what I've done. I bought guaranteed lifetime income that kicks in when I turn age 60, but I bought more that kicks in when I turn age 62. I bought more that kicks in when I turn age 65. I bought more that kicks in when I turn age 70. So I am guaranteed to have increasing income for the rest of my life. And your listeners can do that as well.
And that's what I call laddering income. And you can ladder lifetime income. You can ladder the purchase date or the income start date, like what Tom is doing. And that's really the best way to address inflation during your retirement, especially using these lifetime income annuities. And as Tom mentioned before, you can buy these income annuities that increase the income annually every single year to address the rise of inflation. I want to remind everybody that these annuity companies, they have these big buildings for a reason. They have their names on jets.
But we just want them to have increasing income over time, because inflation is like a virus. It gets worse every year. And then step number 5 is you need to secure more guaranteed lifetime income. And that is a key part of retirement. And it's key for a number of reasons. Number one, the number one risk in retirement is longevity. I mean, there's a lot of risks. There's market risk, there's withdrawal rate risk, there's sequence of returns risk. We might have inflation, might have deflation, might raise your taxes, you might die, you might need long-term care. There's a lot of risks in retirement. But the number one risk is longevity, that you live a long time. And the annuity is the only product in the world you can buy that can mitigate that longevity risk, because as long as you're breathing, or you and your spouse are breathing, if you have a joint annuity, those checks are coming guaranteed for the rest of your lives. And that is so important. And then there's 2 additional reasons why it's important. Number one, you're going to be happier. The Wall Street Journal said the secret to a happy retirement is friends, neighbors, and a fixed annuity. And what they found is that the happiest people in retirement were those people who are surrounded by their friends, surrounded by their families, who had guaranteed paychecks every single month. I would encourage your listeners, who are your happiest friends in retirement? I bet it's retired military, retired government, retired teachers, retired firefighters. It's people with pensions. So happiness in retirement is tied almost 100% to guaranteed lifetime income, not assets. Who are the most miserable people you know? They're loaded, but they're losing money in this, and they're losing money in this, and they're losing money in this, and these people are miserable. Assets make people miserable in retirement. Guaranteed lifetime income makes people happy. And then the second thing is, the research now shows people of guaranteed income tend to live longer. I'm not making this stuff up. You can look it up on Freakonomics. The Journal for Financial Service Professionals had an entire article on, longevity insurance. Does longevity insurance increase longevity? And it's all about annuities. And what they found is that the average 65-year-old male will live about 20% longer if they have an annuity versus if they don't. Now, it doesn't mean that buying an annuity automatically makes you live longer. I mean, maybe people who have bad, life expectancy don't buy annuities, but having that guaranteed income has been proven through centuries, because remember, annuities have been around for thousands of years. The Roman Empire issued annuities because running out of money has been the number one concern of people ever since there's been people and there's been money. It's not a new concern, but you're likely to be happier and you're likely to live longer if you have guaranteed lifetime income.
Tom, what's your site address one more time?
TomHegna.com.
TomHegna.com. That's TomHegna.com. And it's all one word, TomHegna.com. I would encourage you to go there. There's a lot of good stuff on that website. There's a lot of good stuff on our website as well regarding annuities. You can go to legacywealthcrusade.com and read more about these types of annuities. And of course, if you're looking for a good speaker for your organization, you can schedule Tom to come out and do a speaking event for you, going to tomhegna.com. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the beneficiaries. You can have the guaranteed income going to either one lump sum to your beneficiary from an annuity upon you passing away, or you can have the payments that you were receiving go to your beneficiary when you pass away. And you can structure them to where they only get so much, or it starts at a certain age for them to start receiving that annuity payout. Quick story about, I've got two little boys, ages 4 and 8, and I don't want them, if I pass away, I don't want them to get a large lump sum from my life insurance policies and my annuities.
Grandpa and his 5-year-old granddaughter.
Oh, yeah.
Now he gets a check for the rest of his life. When he dies, she gets a check for the rest of her life. That thing can pay for 100 years. That's what people don't understand about this guaranteed lifetime income. It's really an incredible product.
I don't need them to be helicoptering in to the funeral or driving off in the new Rolls Royce or Ferrari or Lambo that they get. I need to make sure that they protect that money, and that money is protected, and they're protected from themselves. So an annuity, you can handcuff those beneficiaries so that they only have a certain amount of access to all that money. And there's one thing that you need to remember when the account.
And they'll always remember you. I used to hand out a piece of paper to people with 4 lines on the top and 8 lines on the bottom. I say, now do me a favor, jot down the first and last name of your 4 grandparents. Well, almost everybody can do that because they know their grandparents. And then I said, now in these 8 lines, just jot down the first and last name of your 8 great-grandparents. Go ahead. It should just take a minute. Well, I've never had anybody remember the first and last name of their great-grandparents. And I said, what's so interesting? John D. Rockefeller's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids, they all remember his first and last name. You know why? Because every year they get a check from John D. Rockefeller. And we've found if you get a check from somebody every year,
that strategy,
your memory.
I've actually read about, and I've actually helped some of the clients implement that strategy inside their generational wealth that transfers to their beneficiaries. I mean, that thing acts like a legacy income monster. I had a gentleman I was working with, older gentleman, and he did a joint lifetime income annuity with his 7-year-old granddaughter. So, I mean, think about this. If you really want legacy, have a monthly check.
And for interest rates, I look at the 30-year U.S. government bond because 30 inflation hurts the 30-year bond the most. And so like if we're going to have inflation, if interest rates are going higher, you're going to see it first in the 30-year bond because those people are buying something for 30 years. Like, would you want to lock in your money right now for 1.9, I think it's 1.96% today for 30 years? That's what the bond market, the smartest people in the world are putting their money for 30 years at 1.93% interest. And so that's telling me that interest rates are not going up. I mean, if interest rates are going up and if inflation was here, that 30-year bond would not be at 1.9%. It would be at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9% because those people have the biggest risk. If inflation hits and interest rates spike, all those people who bought annuities at government bonds at 1.94%, they're all going to lose a ton of money. Yeah, you can lose a ton of money in U.S. government bonds. If interest rates go up, the value of bonds goes down. But what that's telling me is the smartest market in the world is loading up on these bonds at 1.9% and they don't see interest rates going up for over 30 years. So, who am I to go against the smartest market in the world? I don't see interest rates moving much. I'm not saying they couldn't go up. Sure. They go up and down, but I don't see, I'm on the record saying the 10-year government bond will go negative before it ever hits 4%. And you can hold me to that. Facing deflation, not inflation. And people don't understand that. They're reading the papers and we see prices going up, but the world is still facing deflation risk.
Well, also, Tom, we're in blue water strategy. So, I mean, we're in some places, where we've never seen this before, what's occurring. I mean, the last time that money was printed like this was World War II. But let's talk about long-term care.
Have a plan for long-term care. No retirement plan is complete without a plan for long-term care. It's the one thing most people forget about that can wipe out their entire life's work. And this is very personal to me because both of my parents had Alzheimer's. Both of them went into assisted living. Now, I made them buy long-term care insurance 18 years ago. They didn't want to. It's too expensive. We'll never need it. It's an insurance company ripoff. My dad said all those words to me. I made them buy it. Well, they were both in assisted living, $10,000 a month. Both my parents were teachers up in Minnesota, small towns. There were years my mom rarely made over $10,000. There were many years my dad didn't make over $10,000 a year. And $10,000 a month, I can't imagine the retirement if they didn't have those policies. And for people who say it's too expensive, here's what I have to say. If you think long-term care insurance is expensive, man, you ought to try not having it.
Yeah, you should
That's right,
try to
and
pay
for
for
long-term
long-term
care.
care.
And
And I am a true believer in that. I don't sell long-term care because the products that I deal with have something else known as living benefits, and it's a lot more affordable than a long-term care rider would be or long-term care insurance would be. But the living benefits and the policies and the products that I deal with, it's going to cover you. I refer to it as GoFundMe insurance. It keeps you from becoming a GoFundMe account if you're to get diagnosed with anything, a critical, chronic, or terminal illness like heart disease, cancer, heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's, or even the loss of a limb. You have access to the benefit of the policy. Instead of using your own money, you can access the benefit of the policy to provide, hospital, to pay for hospital bills, provide long-term care if you need it, supplement your income if you're unable to go back to work. But it's a lot different than, people think of traditional life insurance as, oh, well, I only get my money if I die. Well, no, it's not true if you have living benefits inside your policy. And it's also not true if you have a cash accumulating policy like whole life, modern whole life, an IUL, a GUL. People just aren't educated on these types of products out there. They're just passed along to think about life insurance as only for death. But people can learn all kinds of stuff about cash value life insurance policies and IULs if they go to my website, legacywealthcrusade.com. And they can also schedule a free consultation with me there as well. But there's so much that has changed in the insurance world. And then you've mentioned before protecting the equity in your home.
7 is to use your home equity wisely. For people, their house is normally one of their largest assets. There are basically 3 ways to do it. You can sell your home and downsize and move to Arizona. That's where I live, or Florida, where you live. We can enjoy our lives. And if you're single, you can capture up to $250,000 tax-free in capital gains. If you're married, you can capture up to $500,000 tax-free in capital gains. That can help. You can take a loan against the equity, or you can do a reverse mortgage. Now, let me tell you where I come down on reverse mortgages, both in the book and the TV show. Here's what I say. I am not for reverse mortgages, but I'm not against reverse mortgages. They are a tool that can be used in retirement. But my best professional advice is this. Number 1, be very, very, very careful. Yes. Number 2, work with a reverse mortgage expert. But having said that, your listeners are going to read many more positive articles written by very respected sources like the American College, Dr. Wade Pfau, Jamie Hopkins, Mary Beth Franklin, Don Graves. So there's some great material out there. Just be very careful and work with a reverse mortgage expert. Now, another step that I don't have a number to is you should use life insurance to pass wealth to your children and grandchildren. I always tell people, don't leave them any money. You're supposed to spend your money. The last check you ought to write out to go to the undertaker, and that baby had to bounce, okay? You're supposed to spend your money. Leave them life insurance. And you can do that for pennies on the dollar. So let me use me as an example. We got 4 kids, and one day we're sitting around saying, how much should we leave the kids? My wife said, I don't know. What do you think? I said, well, if we bought a $1 million second-to-die life insurance policy, name the 4 kids a beneficiary, when we're both gone, they're going to get $1 million tax-free. So that's $250,000 a piece tax-free, plus whatever's left over. Let's start there. So we bought a $1 million second-to-die life insurance policy, name 4 kids a beneficiary. That policy is completely paid up. Do you know what the total cost of that $1 million policy was? $150,000. So now think about this. For 15 cents on the dollar, we get to transfer $1 million tax-free to our kids. But here's the best part. Who gets to spend all the rest of the money? We do. See, you're not getting any younger. You don't get to take any of it with you. What are you trying to be? The richest guy in the cemetery? You're supposed to spend your money, leave them life insurance for pennies on the dollar. And if they just follow these simple steps, any person can have a happier and more successful retirement than if they try to just wing it and do it on their own in the stock market and all that. That's not going to work.
A lot of what you said there is in that book. Don't worry, retire happy, right? I tell people all the time, life insurance is one of the best returns on investments that you'll never see because you're dead. And there's, like I say, different types of life insurance out there depending on what your goals are and what you're trying to do with it. But even the basic life insurance is you transfer wealth, income tax-free to a named beneficiary. It's the best way to transfer wealth generation to generation. But there's a saying that they say, actually, I think I learned it from you at one of your speaking events, Tom, is you don't see U-Hauls behind hearses. If you do, take a picture of it and send it to me.
And it has to do a lot with psychonomics. So I speak about math, science, and economics, but I've been speaking more about psychonomics, because think about it this way. You got something from your company every 2 weeks your entire working career. It was called a paycheck. Now, what did you do with that paycheck? You spent it. You paid for your house, paid for your car. You went on trips. You bought stuff. You got it and spent a paycheck every single 2 weeks for your entire working career. You never had a problem with that. But when was the last time you raided your 401k and took $200,000 out of your IRA and 401k? Oh, no, we can't do that. We got to save it. We got to grow it. We can protect it. We can't touch it. Well, you do that for 45 years. Do you honestly think on your 65th birthday, you're going to wake up and say, by golly, I'm going to blow my 401k today? You can't do it. People can't spend their assets. They've been psychonomically programmed to never touch them. And most people go to their graves never touching their assets. And so what the math and science says is you should take a portion, for most people that'd be 20 to 40% of their portfolio, and put that into guaranteed lifetime income. Now you got these paychecks and playchecks coming in every single month. You can spend them. And they just, as long as you're breathing, those checks never run out. And that's proven that you're going to be happier in retirement, and you're likely going to live longer in retirement. These are not my opinions. This is the research of PhDs all around the world on retirement.
I think they know, but Tom, I need you to drive home what a play check is.
A play check allows me to go play golf whenever I want to. I can go on trips whenever I want to. If we want to go to the casino and put $100 on red and spin the wheel once or twice, we can do that. That's a play check. It's things that we want to do. Not that we have. See, a paycheck covers your mortgage, your cell phone bill, your car insurance, your car payment, whatever your bills are. That's the paycheck. The play check is all the fun stuff. And that's what you want. You want to get to a place where you got these play checks coming in as, golly, we really should spend this money because it just keeps coming. We got to spend it. And that's when people are the happiest. They tend to live. If older people, their world starts getting really small when my parents got really old. And if they can live for one more paycheck, oh, I think I can hang on for one more check. Oh, I think I feel good. I'm going to hang on for one more check.
Right.
And these checks cause them to hang on for longer, and they live longer. I mean, again, these are not opinions. You can read the research I've read. I put all the research in my books, my white papers. I don't make this stuff up. This is math and science.
And once again, it's TomHegna, Tom Hegna, all one word, .com. Last question for you, Tom. What do you think of these markets now that we're starting to close and wrap up here? A couple more
not much of safe haven. I mean, when everything goes down, it goes down, and it can be ugly. And you don't want to lose money right before or right after retirement, because that's the riskiest time of your investing life.
So when you're talking about like today, or when this is being recorded, when 85% of all trades are non-human trades, whether it's black box or high velocity, it's a different market. It's a 24/365 market. Unfortunately, us peons don't get to do the 24/7, 365. I would be very careful, buying and selling so much in the market right now, and look more towards diversifying your retirement portfolio into these more secure, more guaranteed financial products, and build your safety net. Last question. One of the last questions I have for you, Tom, is about blockchain. And of course, blockchain is the underlying technology of the Bitcoins. Do you see blockchain technology affecting the annuity and life insurance markets, Tom? Do you think it's going to affect it in a positive way?
I think so, because it allows transactions to happen with transparency yet anonymous, which is really weird. That everybody can see what's going on, and there's a number or code of what's going on, but you can't see who just did that. And so I think almost every industry has been using blockchain to help their supply chains, to help their inventory. Maybe annuity issuers can become more efficient. Maybe they can mitigate some risks that we don't even talk about day to day that are actuarial type risks. So I do think that over time it will be a positive.
One last thing. What would you have for, just say, sage wisdom direct from Tom Hegna? What would you have for the people that are listening right now?
Well, retirement, people think it's about real estate, or it's about the stock market, or it's about how much money is my 401k. That's not what it's about. It's about how much guaranteed lifetime income do you have, and have you taken the appropriate risks off the table? Have you mitigated long-term care risk? Have you mitigated inflation risk? Have you mitigated sequence of returns risk, market risk, inflation, deflation? What about taxes? Mm-hmm. And most people who do it themselves They have blind spots. Oh yeah, I had a good quarter. Oh man, I made 30% last year in the
Yep.
market. Okay, yeah, what happens when the market crashes 50%? And then you're determined that you need long-term care. And oh, by the way, they just doubled your taxes, and now inflation's at 5%. Then what? You know, and so I just think too many people have blind spots, which is show them what the blind spots are, and then they can
Right.
choose which ones they want to protect against.
Ladies and gentlemen, that master of the retirement specter, his name is Tom Hegna. Go check him out, tomhegna.com. Check out his books. At least get the book Paychecks and Playchecks. And if you're serious about retirement, get the book Retirement Income Masters. I'm sure we're going to be having him on again. Check out our website as well, legacywealthcrusade.com. Tom, I really appreciate you being here and being able to do this with us tonight. A lot of people really need this information, really need to know who to go to and who to listen to that's out there in this space. But we will see you next time.